Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So this week I want to do something a little bit different and just mix it up and take a shot at creating one of these tier list makers. Now normally you usually see these done by other YouTubers where they'll rank video games or they'll rank movies or characters or something to that effect. But I figured, hey, why not make a list of these self-development habits that I've been practicing over the past couple of years and kind of rank them in order of their significance and their impact. So right now I do have 23 habits I've listed down below that I currently practice or that I have practiced in the past. And I'm going to rank them accordingly from S being the best and most impactful all the way down to D, obviously the least impactful. Now this list is very subjective, so there's probably going to be a couple selections I have here that you'll completely disagree with, or maybe you'll agree completely, and that's completely normal. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments if any of my choices you think are a little bit outrageous or in poor taste. So let's start this thing off. And the first one we got is podcasts. Podcasts for me are definitely in at least the A tier. I would say they're close to S, but the only thing I wouldn't put them in S is that sometimes all the information you get from podcasts are not totally trustworthy. As you know, podcasts are usually done in the moment, off the cuff, and not everyone has like a super professional podcast where they can, do all their research and fact check in the moment. So for me, podcasts are a great source of education and entertainment. So definitely A tier. Okay, so let's move on. Next is breathwork. So this one is definitely lower on my list. This is not something that I currently practice, but I have practiced in the past. So I think breathwork is going to be a C for me. I was interested a lot in breathwork at one time, especially when it comes to the whole Wim Hof method. You know, that ice guy or Iceman that is able to just hold his breath in extreme amounts of cold temperatures, which is, just insane. He has this very strange way of breathing where you kind of inhale, you take a very deep breath and fill your lungs with oxygen, but instead of exhaling immediately, you just kind of hold it in and then exhale very slowly. And I found that very interesting, but for whatever reason, this habit of breath work, it never really stuck with me. And it was a habit that didn't really see that much results, to be honest. And it's probably due to my lack of consistency. So breathwork gets a C rank. Next is self-help videos. Okay, so this is like basically right down my alley. This is hard. I would say self-help videos is probably a solid B. Main reason for this is that a lot of the times, if you're like me and you consume too many self-help videos, then you're sort of just wasting time instead of going out and doing things to change your life. But on the same time though, if it wasn't for self-help videos, then I probably would have never made my channel because I drew a lot of inspiration from fellow creators in the self-development niche. Okay, next is musical instruments. This is an easy A tier for me. For anyone that doesn't know, I've played the piano for over 10 years, I think, since I was a little kid. And I did my examinations all through high school, but eventually I kind of dropped the practice when I started going to university. But then for whatever reason, I never really picked it back up. There are a lot of benefits when it comes to playing musical instruments. I'm not entirely sure if the whole the improvement in math skills is a real thing or if that was just a myth. But what I found really beneficial about, playing a musical instrument is just the difficulty. It's so difficult, or at least for me, it was extremely difficult because I don't really have any musical talent. Like I never really had an ear for music. I was more of like a give me the sheet music and I would study and practice and practice and practice, and then I would get good at it. I wasn't like a natural when it came to music, but I do think the discipline and the hard work that it teaches you from the sheer difficulty definitely makes musical instruments A tier for me. Let's see. Next is investing. Ooh. I think investing, is it S? Oh man, but like maybe it's A. For me, investing is somewhere in between S and A. Investing is extremely important, but at the same time, I do know successful people that have done fine in life without having to spend too much time focusing in on investing. But I do think the skill or habit of investing is definitely worth your time, especially if there's anyone out there who wants to achieve financial freedom or take better care of their finances and be more responsible. So I think for me, maybe I'll switch it to an S later. We'll see how the list goes on, but for now I'm going to leave investing in A tier. Let's see, cold showers. Okay, so this one is going to be super subjective. I think for me, to be perfectly honest, I would say A, but that's only because I'm a little biased towards cold showers because I've done them for at least, it's been like over 5 years now, but I think cold showers deserves to be in B tier. Now, one of the best things about cold showers, in my opinion, is just how painful and uncomfortable it is to take a cold shower. Now, especially for me, for someone who lives in Canada, in the wintertime, it's horrible taking a cold shower. Like even right now in November, it's like, -1 degrees Celsius outside right now. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, like 20 or something, but it's just cold, right? And the last thing you want to do in the winter is to take a cold shower, and it's just so painful. It almost feels like torture. But one of the big benefits that I had is cold showers really helped me with clearing up my skin. I had really bad eczema and allergies in the past, and I figured out that keeping my skin like cool and kind of keeps it soothing in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but it definitely helped me a lot throughout the years, and for whatever reason this has been a habit that's stuck with me for well over 5 years. So cold shower definitely belongs in, I guess, B tier for me. All right, next is Netflix. Oh, I think this is an easy D tier. The only positives that I can honestly think of from Netflix is two things. The first being the documentaries, where you are learning something of importance and, learning something valuable and educational. And second is just like making you more social with your peers, especially if you're like a teenager or a young adult. Netflix is very popular. It's in the mainstream. Everyone, talks about these new Netflix shows that come out on a weekly basis. And it's definitely something that will benefit you when it comes to socializing with people your age. But on the flip side, for me, it's easily a D tier due to the fact that it's a time sink. It just completely wastes your time. Like if you're a person that has extreme self-control, that can turn on Netflix one night and maybe just watch one episode after dinner, and then you turn it off. Like that's pretty good. But if you're like me, who watches one episode and then has to watch a second and a third and a fourth, and all of a sudden you're just binging an entire season, and you just killed like 4 or 5 hours of your night, and like it just ruins my whole day when it comes to time management and productivity. So for me, Netflix is an easy D tier. Let's see, cleaning. Cleaning is an easy A, definitely A. Not just in terms of like hygiene, but also like organization. Whenever I keep my office clean and my desk tidy and organized, it it just makes my day so much easier and just makes me so much more productive. I feel like whenever I have a neat, clean, and tidy office, it's so much easier to just settle in, relax, and work because I'm not filled with anxiety because there's all this stuff everywhere. So obviously cleaning is a definite A tier for me. All right, next is meditation. Meditation. Man, meditation. This is one habit that I have struggled with to stay consistent at for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years now. For me, this is probably, this is a close C. I think I'm going to leave meditation in B tier for now. Mainly for me, it's because the sheer difficulty. Now, I don't know who these people are that says, meditation is so easy, you just have to sit down and close your eyes and do nothing. But for whatever reason, that is extremely challenging. It's just so hard to just sit still and think about nothing. Maybe it's because I'm someone whose brain is always racing and tinkering and thinking about new ideas and new videos and new business ventures that I can try to pursue. I'm always thinking about ways to better my life, thinking about ways to improve, and thinking about things to do. I find it extremely difficult to just sit down and think about nothing, which is a clear indicator for a habit that I definitely need to work on and should show a tremendous amount of benefits in the long run. But obviously, due to my lack of consistency and struggles, meditation for me, I would like to say it would be an A tier for me, but for me it's B, just because of my unwillingness to keep up with it on a daily basis. All right, next we got social media. Oh man, I think this is an easy D tier, just like Netflix. Now social media, when I think of social media, the first thing I think of is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, any of the main big social media apps that involves interaction with other human beings. And for me, it's an easy D tier, just due to how toxic it is and how bad it is for your mental health. And not only that, but also like how time consuming it is, as well as Netflix. Like I've seen people on Facebook write novels, like almost whole essays of arguments and rebuttals and their opinion on a certain stance, and just writing these incredible like essays. And I'm just like, how do you have the time to do that? And 9 times out of 10, whenever I read anything on Twitter or Facebook, it's just so poisonous and vile. And I just can't have any type of negativity like that in my life. It just affects your mind in a terrible way, and it can affect the type of person you are. So for me, social media is an easy D tier. Okay, so next I think sleep. This is an easy S tier. 100% S is getting a good night's sleep. I don't think, if anyone doesn't put this in S, you're probably crazy, but there's just so much scientific information and studies out there on how important it is to get a good night's sleep. And if you need convincing, there's a great book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and he goes into deep detail on the importance of sleep. And basically what he summarizes sleep as is, if you don't sleep properly, then you're speeding up the end result of death. And not sleeping is basically dying. And you need to rest. Like getting a full 7, 8, 9 hours sleep is so important. And especially, for me, when I only get maybe 6 hours, I'm okay, I can function. If I get 4 or less, I'm a complete wreck. I can't think, I can't write, I just can't do anything at a high level, and it just affects me on every way possible in my life. So for me, sleep 100% S tier, and is probably one of the 3 pillars, to living a well-balanced, happy life. Okay, after sleep, we got naps. Ooh, naps. Man, is naps S? If sleep is, you know what? I'm gonna put naps in A. Now, of course, more sleep is good, so shouldn't naps be, S tier as well? But for me, with my experience with naps, is that it's not that they're bad, but whenever I've had to take a nap in the middle of the day, it's always affected my nighttime routine at the end of the night to fall asleep at my normal time. Now, I don't know if naps affects your circadian rhythm, but I'm someone that just has so much energy and enthusiasm every single day, and I'm always like on the go, that if I just take like a 20-30 minute nap in the middle of the day, it kind of like recharges my batteries. So by the time nighttime comes and it's around 11 o'clock where I would normally sleep, then I don't really feel as tired. So I've noticed that the benefits of naps is not the best because it kind of negatively affects my sleep. But I think if that isn't the case for you, then naps are definitely a great habit to add to your routine or daily life. Okay, moving on, we got the news. Oh, yuck. No, the news is a D. For me, the news is a D tier. It's just, you can't trust the information on the news anymore. It's just not a credible source of honest information. And so many news channels are so politically based by these ideologies that they follow, that either they're left wing or they're right wing. So the information that they're giving to you, it's biased, right? And it leans politically. And I hate that because, like in the past, news was the information that you trust, right? And now whenever I hear anything on the news, I'm like, is that real? Do I have to search that up? Do I have to debunk that, or do I have to look it up on Snopes? Like, I'm always like critical of the information that I'm getting from the news. So I'm just like, I don't know. For me, the news is kind of more the lines of social media, just a bunch of junk. So unfortunately for me, the news is a big D tier. Okay, after news, we have exercise, easily S tier, easily 100%. Along with sleep, exercise is one of the core habits that, man, just not in an energy and happiness standpoint, but just like health, like everything about cardiovascular health, or even just lifting weights or playing sports or going for a walk, going for a swim, riding your bike. Just any form of exercise is so good for you in the long run. And I heard a statistic once that when it comes to vitality and health, if you have someone that is smoking, they are 2 to 3 times more likely to have like symptoms for a shorter life. But if you are someone who exercises rigorously and regularly, then you are 4 to 5 times less likely to get those same adverse effects. So even though we think something is smoking to harm your body in such an impactful way, but exercising helps your body even at a higher rate than something as negative as smoking does. And it's just, like in this life, we have one body. We only have one life. And if you can exercise and keep your body healthy, the way you experience the world is just so much better at the end of the day. So exercise, easy S tier for me. Okay, next we have college degree. Oh man. College degree. This one, I feel like this can go in any of the tiers, to be honest. Now, if I had to base this off my own personal experience, a college degree for me would be C tier. There are some situations where I could see, your college degree being an S tier. Maybe finishing college, university is what got you into your specific field, which got you a job, and was able to, start a family and build your life. And I get that. That's amazing. But for me, it was pretty much a huge waste of time, as I had no idea what I wanted to study. And if I did pursue my college degree any further in a subject that I no longer care about, which I obviously explained in my past video, but the amount of debt and student debt that you incur from going to college is unbelievable in North America. That financial burden, it would have just crippled me. And because I didn't get a college degree, I had all this free time and income to kind of like experiment and try new things and see the world and try new hobbies and activities and figure out what I wanted to do in life. And it was because of my reluctance to finish college I was able to find happiness and find what my passion was, which was making these videos. So unfortunately for me, college degree is a C tier. It's not a D because I do think, some education is better than no education. So it goes in a C for me. Next is fasting. Oh, this is an interesting one. Is this an S for me? I've been doing intermittent fasting for like 7 years pretty much on a daily basis. But if I had to be honest, I think fasting is an A. Now, one of my favorite things when it comes to fasting is not just reducing your food intake and your caloric intake, but it's also you learn how to deal with being hungry. And that's something that I never had to deal with before. I always just thought like, oh, my stomach is rumbling, I feel hungry, it's lunchtime or it's time for a snack. It's the immediate response that I would have is, oh, I need to go eat food. But then when you try things like intermittent fasting, you realize that, oh, it's just a hormone called ghrelin, I think, that's being triggered that signals to you that it's time to eat, or it signals to your brain that you're hungry. But in reality, not really. If you just drink like a couple tall glasses of water, you'll soon realize that you can control those urges to go out and eat. And also, another great thing about fasting is there's tremendous health benefits, especially with increasing your lifespan and longevity. And it kind of makes sense because when you think about it, if you're constantly eating, like say 3 meals a day plus snacks in between, and you're constantly consuming food and your body is using all its resources to convert that food into energy, and you're just never giving your body a break, right? And I kind of think about it like a car. Like imagine if you have a car and you're just driving that thing 24/7, you never give it an oil change or give it time for maintenance, then it's gonna break down. And I feel like it's the same thing kind of for the human body. So fasting, it kind of gives your digestive system, a break to sort of relax and recharge, and I think it's good for you. So fasting is another thing I'm super biased with, as this is a habit I've been super consistent with over the past couple of years. Okay, next we have, this is a good one, basic nutrition. This has to be an S. Now this is an easy S for me, as sleep, exercise, and basic nutrition are like the 3 pillars, and it's the foundation for living a happy and healthy life. And the reason I have this as basic nutrition is a lot of the times it's the fundamentals and the basics of food is all we really need. So basic nutrition is obviously like eat less sugar, don't eat as much processed foods, like junk food and candy, and all the nonsense that everyone knows. What type of foods are bad. And the way that I kind of think about it is, when you go to the grocery store and you walk in and you have 2 choices. You can go to one side where you have all the food that's in boxes, or you can go to the other side where all the food is out in the open. And that's obviously the produce section. And generally that's the type of food you want to eat, right? Like the real food. You don't want to be going to a section where all the food is in plastic bags and cartons and containers. Like, it's like, the way I think about it is choose produce, choose the healthy food, choose basic nutrition over the sugar, all the sugar processed garbage that we eat here in North America. So basic nutrition, easy S tier for me. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so we're going to follow basic nutrition up with advanced nutrition. This one is a little bit more tricky, and I think this is a lot lower on my tier list for me, and that would be a B. I think it's a B tier. Now, when I say advanced nutrition, what I mean is I'm talking about someone who takes nutrition to the next level, where they're counting their calories, they're counting the macronutrients, their proteins, their fats, their carbohydrates, their micronutrients, or they even have like a food scale and they're weighing how many grams is in each plate of food, and they're writing all these things down. And I say this because this was something that I used to be completely obsessed with just a few years ago. And this whole idea of becoming super obsessive, where you take nutrition to an advanced level, where you focus on all the minutia, all the tiny little things, like, oh, which type of supplements I should take, and I've ate this many grams of protein in proportion to how many pounds of body weight I have, and it's just too much. And the benefit you get from advanced nutrition is very minor, whereas the benefit you get from basic nutrition is extreme. So I feel like basic nutrition, where it's an easy S, advanced nutrition is kind of more down as a C, but I do think it is a B, because learning about advanced nutrition is especially good for someone that, say, you're getting married and you want to fit into your wedding dress or your suit, or you want to lose a certain amount of weight to get down to a specific body fat percentage or waist size by a certain day. That is when advanced nutrition really shines, where you can use mathematics to calculate how many calories you can intake per day over an extended period of time to get to a desired weight loss. And it gets very mathy and very scientific-y, if that's even a word. But what I used to do is I have a food scale downstairs. I actually have two. And I would weigh my food, and I would type in my phone and how many grams of rice I'm eating. And then it would tell me, oh, this many grams of rice has so many carbohydrates and so many calories. And it just gets way too much. So advanced nutrition is B tier for me. Okay, so next we have languages. Ooh, languages. I think languages is an easy A. Now, this is probably S tier for someone that is learning English as a second language, for example. Then languages is probably S. But for me, I only know one language, and that's English. But I do think it's important that I work on my language. I work on my vocabulary. I work on the way I speak and the way that I convey myself. And I think that's very important, is to learn multiple languages. But if you don't, and you only know one, try to master that language the best you can. And I work on my command of the English language on a daily basis, because I want to be able to express my thoughts and articulate my feelings in a way that makes sense and people can understand. So for me, languages is easily A tier. Next we have writing. I think writing, again, also A. For sure A. Writing is something that I do on a daily basis. Every morning I write, whether that's in my journal or a to-do list or creating a script for like these YouTube videos. Something about writing is just so calming for me, and it's really helped me in relation to languages with my vocabulary, and I've become so much better with the type of words I use when I speak, and writing plays a big role in that. And I think it's kind of like it applies if you're writing physically with a pen or if you're typing in Google Docs with your computer. Either way, I feel like both forms of writing is definitely A tier worthy. Okay, next we have affirmations. Okay, so this is another one that I've kind of struggled with over the years, and it's not my best habit. I could see affirmations for me in C, but I think there's enough benefit for affirmations to put them in B tier, I would say. Now, for a lot of people, this would probably be higher on your list. But what I've noticed with affirmations, instead of working on my mindset and kind of working on like these anxieties and fears that I have, and focus on a mantra or affirmation to continually tell myself on a daily basis that can change my life, I've noticed that instead, if I just use that time to take action and just go after what I want to change, I've had so much better results that way. Now, I don't know if that really applies, but affirmations was something that I used to do regularly. And for whatever reason, again, all these habits, it's hard to keep up with everything, right? And affirmations is very similar to the whole meditation and breathwork stuff, where I kind of fell off and I didn't see the best benefits from it. But I do think affirmations is worth at least B tier. All right, and next we have books. Oh, books is probably S. Actually, you know what? I think books for me is A. The reason for this is I'm going to categorize books and ebooks all into one. In the past, I used to hate reading books, and reading has became a habit that I've really developed and worked on over the years. I've really made a concerted effort to try to read not only more nonfiction, but also like a lot of fiction books as well. And I try to mix it up as much as I can, even throw in like a fantasy book from time to time, just for some variety. Now, I do think with the popularity of ebooks, this has made reading books even more accessible, as you can have a whole bunch of ebooks that are just on my phone. So I always have access to something to read or some type of information. But the main reason that I have books only in A tier is because of our last habit, which is audiobooks. And audiobooks for me has been an easy, life-changing S tier. No question about it. For me, audiobooks has just been game-changing. It's been revolutionary to me in terms of the way that I consume information and knowledge and become, more intelligent as a human being. And a big part of that is because audiobooks, you can combine it with so many of these other habits. So say, for example, when I'm exercising, I'll listen to audiobooks. Or when I'm cleaning the house, I'll listen to audiobooks. Like whatever, like you can combine it. Or even like when you're taking a shower, you can listen to audiobooks, I guess, or something. But the way that audiobooks allows you to absorb information without having to take the time to stop and sit down and put all your attention on reading a book is what makes it truly valuable. And one of the biggest things for me is simply just the commute to work. Every day I have a 30-minute commute to my day job, so I'll put on an audiobook. But then on top of that, once I get to my day job, I have another 4 to 5 hours of, again, I'll listen to an audiobook while I work. So, and this is something that I can't do. I can't do with regular books because in my day job, I'm on the road and I'm driving a lot. So I can easily just turn on the audiobook, while I'm on the highway or road driving somewhere, and just, consume the information, consume so many different types of books and stories. Like it's just, I don't know, for me, audiobooks has just been absolutely amazing when it comes to getting a self-education, outside of the school system. And this is something that for me, it's just easy S tier. Okay, so I think that's it. We have 4 in S tier, a whole bunch in A tier, a bunch in B. Now, is there anything I want to change here? Before I go, I just want to double check. I think Netflix, social media, news are all easily D. College degree and breathwork. Maybe breathwork could be up in B, but I think for me it's easily a C. Cold showers, meditation, advanced. Yeah, these are all B. Podcast could also be S, but I feel like audiobooks have been more impactful than podcasts. And so also podcasts, you kind of get the conflicting information from time to time. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's my list. So anyone out there that's still watching this, let me know what you thought of my list in the comment section below. Maybe there's something that I could do better. And as always, see you guys next time.